Welcome to AG's Ace. This story is about Rishabh Pant, the rise, the fall, and rise of Rishabh Pant. Rishabh Pant is a very young cricketer, and he does amazing things to human emotion, particularly if you happen to be a fan of Indian cricket. And there have been many instances of late where he has been very, very instrumental in pushing the emotional card, and particularly one can't forget the role he played at the Gabba. So I just wanted to talk about Rishabh Pant. We also have also spoken to his coach, who's Tarak Sinha, and the journey of that man so far. And it is quite a fascinating journey. It is a tough journey. It is not a privileged journey at all. So this is a quick look at a terrific cricket talent of India, the story of how a young boy slogged to make it, the incredible support from his parents, an experienced coach who showed him the way, and he blindly followed. This is a story that needs to be told. Rishabh Pant, as a 12-year-old, used to sleep in a bus at around 2:30 a.m., 2 o'clock on his way from Roorkee to Delhi, which used to be a 7-hour bus ride. He would be accompanied by his mother, who would give him support. She would carry some food in a tiffin for him, and his favorite comfort food was, and still is, paneer paratha. And there would be a flask with tea in it, and he enjoyed sipping that. So on weekends, a young Rishabh Pant with his mother would come to Delhi to basically take coaching. In Delhi, Pant and his mother would find shelter in a gurdwara in Moti Bagh, where they would spend the night. In the morning, Pant would practice at the Sonnet Cricket Academy, which has produced many stars for Delhi, and where his guru, Tarak Sinha, would impart cricketing and life lessons to him. After finishing that, they would get back into the bus and head back to Roorkee. This was a very routine thing for him on the weekend. They did know a couple of people, but now see how his young mind worked. So in an interview, he said that he was sure of one thing: "Mujhe kisi ka ehsan nahi lena. I don't want to take any favors from anybody." So we would have this routine. We would stay at the Gurdwara during the day when he would be taking his coaching lessons. His mother would be visiting some relatives and friends, but that was a different story. She also worked in Gurdwaras during the day, often to do kar seva, and that, Rishabh said, was to garner the blessings from the Gurdwara, and that has helped him in great stead. His father was a manager at Hero Honda, but he quit to start his own business. They used to live in a room, he, his sister, and his parents. His father's great dream was to see Rishabh play for India, and at the age of 8, he gave him one of the biggest gifts of his life, 14,000 rupee SG bat. And but that didn't go down too well with his mother, who was pretty upset at the amount of money that was being spent. But Rishabh says that he cherished the moment, he cherished that bat, and for days on end, he would just touch the bat and not use it. But he was sharp enough to realize that his strength lay in the fact that he could pick length. He was a very clean hitter. And that was his tremendous ability. He didn't want coaching to sort of swamp that big hitting ability. He didn't want any coach to say that, you jettison this big hitting thing, or that, that's a very transient phenomena. You concentrate on defensive technique or whatever else happens in coaching. It is also a bit like Viru Sehwag, who never allowed anybody to temper his natural aggressive attacking style, and that paid massive dividends to Viru. Hopefully that should pay off for Rishabh also. In Tarak Sinha, Rishabh found the ideal tutor, and it was an amazing guru-shishya relationship which has basically stood the test of time, and he really reveres his boss. So in a quote, he said that, "Sir changed my life. Without him, I can't even imagine what I would have done. Jo sir ne kaha, I did. Whatever he said, I just followed his advice, be it in my batting technique or where I should play, what should I do." It is Sinha who advised Pant that he should switch to Rajasthan to play the under-13 and under-15 cricket, because probably he sensed that getting into the Delhi team at a very young age was a bit of a difficult proposition, and there were too many pulls and pressures. and it may not have been a very ideal start for him. Tarak Sinha, we from NNI Sports, we interviewed him also. We'll play a bite later on in the show. So he says that he impressed me a lot in that camp. Talking about Rishabh, I had great expectations from him right from the start because he had that rare ability to pick the length early. With other players, you need to work on that skill, but it just came very naturally to him. He was also a very clean hitter of the ball. Tarak Sinha has also spoken about Rishabh working very hard on his defensive game, that when he first came onto the scene, he was very, very strong on the onside, but now he's equally good on the offside. He's playing correct cricketing shots because he's maturing as a cricketer after the setbacks of being dropped from the team. And here's an interesting line. He says, when you face a setback, the only way you can come back is by improving yourself, and that's exactly what he has done. Sinha, of course, has coached people like Shikhar Dhawan, Ashish Nehra, and Manoj Prabhakar. Rishabh's rise happened pretty early in life. He was the second youngest player for India to debut in a T20 match, youngest at that time at the age of 19 years plus. His heroics earned him a place in the world's biggest T20 extravaganza as he was drafted by the IPL franchise Delhi Daredevils, close to 2 crores, which was then considered a staggering price. He has done wonders for the team in his IPL career of 5 years. He's got close to 2,000 runs in 57 fixtures at a very healthy strike rate, an average of 36.6. His endeavors in the IPL, and this is where the IPL as a feeder service is pretty remarkable. It earned him a position in the Indian team. He made his debut for the Indian team in a T20 international game against England at the Chinnaswamy Stadium. And that was a debut to remember. Pant was named later in the India's test squad for the test series against England in August 2018. He became the first batsman to begin his test career with a 6, which is typically Rishabh, followed by a maiden test century in the same tournament. Then we all recall the 23-year-old was also selected for the Australian series in 2018, where he took 11 catches, the most by an Indian wicketkeeper in a test match. He also scored 100 in that series. His golden moment also came in June 2019 when he got an opportunity to play for India in the ICC World Cup as a replacement for Shikhar Dhawan. But at that point, he couldn't utilize the opportunity enough to basically make a name for himself. His downfall happened in all 3 formats in 2020, so that was a bad year for him. He got out of the T20 and ODI team first, and then his place in the test team was not confirmed. He went through a pretty bad patch. He only managed to score 343 runs in 14 matches in the IPL 2021. So it just shows that when things are not going your way, it really takes a lot to get back. He also faced a lot of criticism from the experts on his keeping skills. Parthiv Patel said he has to work on soft hands, and he also needs to point his fingers downwards because he was dropping quite a few catches. The great Kevin Peterson, KP, said that for as long as he has played, he has been inconsistent. I'm seeing the same player that I saw the year before and the year before and the year before that. That was tough coming from KP, but then that's KP for you. Kapil Dev said, Pant is so talented, he cannot blame anybody. He has to look after his own career, which is very sensible advice coming from a great legendary man. But the turnaround happened for Rishabh Pant when he played one of the best innings of his life against Australia at the Gabba, which has just got over. He scored 89. It made people compare him to Dhoni, which is a little too much and a little too early. Give him time. But it was a terrific innings. And even before, in one of the earlier tests also, the way he was attacking the bowlers, that was a fascinating exercise. And chief coach Ravi Shastri, in fact, said that had he got 100 in the previous knock, India might have won that too. I just feel that what makes Rishabh Pant a terrific prospect to watch is that he is fearless and audacious. He always goes for a win in his mind. His sharp cricketing sense tells him when to attack, and now he does it after he's settled down. That is where someone like Prithvi Shaw needs to learn, because Prithvi again is a terrific guy. We'll talk about that later. It's rare to see a player equally adept at test cricket and limited overs. He needs to possibly sharpen his skills as a keeper, because it may not be possible for Team India to only play him as a test batsman all the time and maybe have Riddhi keep in tests. So he has to concentrate on that. His humor at the crease keeps his fans engaged. All those things that he chatters behind the stumps, that is pretty much fascinating. Fitness is also a key area, and he's only 23, but he needs to work on it. But I'm a huge fan of Rishabh Pant. He's the man to watch out for. And like he says, that he goes for a win, and given the opportunity, he always will look for a win.
अपनी मदर के साथ ये आया था, 12 साल का बच्चा था, मदर साथ लेके आई थी। वहाँ पर कोई ठहरने की, उनका कोई रिश्तेदार नहीं रहता दिल्ली में, कोई ठहरने की जगह नहीं थी। उसने ये ऑप्ट किया जो मैं ना गुरुद्वारे में ही रहूँगा, जो ग्राउंड के पास होगा, मैं प्रैक्टिस ज़्यादा कर सकता हूँ। वहाँ से इसकी जर्नी चालू हुई। मुझे अच्छा लगा, एक टूर्नामेंट हो रहा था, हमने करा, उसके अंदर ये बेस्ट बैट्समैन बना। तो मुझे लगा जो इसके अंदर पोटेंशियल है, ये आगे बढ़ सकता है अगर मैं इस पर मेहनत करूँ, क्योंकि ये एज इसके साथ में है। और इस तरीके से उसका जर्नी चालू हुई।